We're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingmen Show. I'm Drew Brown. We're here to inspire, entertain, and learn so we can all grow. Happiness and serenity are the keys. To you, my friend, my wingman, my main man, I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Paul Thompson. Hey, Paul.
Good morning, Mr. Drew. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard from the one and only Drew Brown, Dark Gable, the American dream. He's the man, the myth, the legend. He's the pilot's pilot, the role model's role model, and most importantly, his royal fullness. Thank you for listening to the podcast, looking at the podcast. And if you could, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. We would appreciate it. I'm doing very good this morning, Mr. Drew. How are you?
I'm doing great. You ready to start this show?
I'm ready.
All right, well, check this out. Paul, you know what I want to do now? I really want to thank our subscribers who are we have people who actually watch us all the time, and I really want to thank them. They're very important to us. I want to let them know that the website's coming. They can download the 11 Facts in Life there, and also we'll give you updates. And I'm very excited about both of us writing that newsletter, Paul.
The newsletter is just starting. Hopefully we'll come out with some very good content that you can use, things that are useful, uplifting, positive, not just a lot of bad news. There's plenty of bad news. You can get that anywhere. But we want to give you things that can benefit your life and someone else that you care about. So remember, please like, share, subscribe online. Take a look at the website. Wingmen Show, www.wingmenshow.com. Wingmen Show. M-E-N.
There you go, Paul. There you go. Hey, I'd like to tell you an Ali story, Paul.
Sure.
And this has something to do with the Olympics, actually. My father trained Ali, as I'm sure everybody knows by now, but if you're a new listener, my dad was Drew Bundini Brown, and he trained Muhammad Ali. The first fight with Sonny Liston, this is important. The champ came back and had his gloves in front of his face saying, "Cut my gloves off, I quit." That's it. Cut my gloves off. When a boxer comes back to the corner and is blinded from a chemical in his eyes and says, "I quit," you cut his gloves off. Well, the thing is, he had a Bundini. He had my dad with him. And my dad distracted him and started talking to him and said, "Hey, you're not fighting for yourself anymore." My daughter reminded me of this, Taryn. You're not fighting for yourself anymore. You're fighting for all them little black kids that you were talking to. Matter of fact, all the kids that you told you were the greatest. All them people in the barbershops that you said you're the baddest man on the planet. You're not fighting for yourself anymore. You need to go out there and kick his ass. And guess what? History was changed. By that time, the liniment kind of wore off. The champ went out there and changed history. And the reason I'm telling you that story is the Simone Biles thing. Simone Biles kind of quit. Before I tell that story, real quick, remember Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard?
Yes.
And he said, "No mas, no mas."
No more, yes.
Yes, I was at the fight. Dad and I were at the fight, actually.
Oh, where was that? Where was that?
In New Orleans, in the Superdome.
Okay.
Oh, that was a badass fight. But what was happening is Sugar Ray Leonard started kicking his butt and making fun of him. And he didn't mind the boxing at all, or getting hit, or getting knocked out, or anything. But in his sport, we did not fool around, and you did not make fun. And that's why he said, I'm out of here. I'm done. Well, Simone Biles actually said that she's done and she needs to do it for us. And when I was talking to Taryn, she says, "But remember when Granddaddy told the champ that he's not doing it for himself anymore?" Simone Biles is the number one gymnast in the world. She has a lot of people who look up to her. And actually, when you get to that kind of fame and that kind of notoriety, you're not doing it for yourself anymore. You're doing it for a lot of people. And in the Olympics, you're doing it for the country. And we talked about this, like NBA players, they'd rather win a world championship. But international NBA players, they'd rather win the Olympics for their country. They'd much rather win that. you and I did talk about something else, and I'm going to let you explain to them. That's good and great, but fame and money at a young age, and especially coming from a background, you need to put all that in context. You have to put that in context. And I'm going to let you tell them a little bit about Simone Biles' background. So is she doing this for the people, or should she take care of herself? Because mental health is our issue with the shootings, with these people who are not wearing masks, with all the robberies and all the bad people. They have mental issues, the homeless, and we need to address it. And it doesn't mean you're crazy. And that's a very bad thing, especially in the Black society. You know, people like make fun of crazy people. Actually, in all societies, that's not true. You know, but crazy people are made fun of. Well, it's not funny anymore. So why don't you put some empathy into this and tell us about Simone Biles?
Okay, well, all I know is the things that I've read online and some stories that I've seen. But you know, she's in a tough spot. Remember, she's really the face of the Olympics. Period. I would say she's the biggest star. But her background is a tough one. Not unusual with you know, parents who have drug issues, drug addicted, raised by grandparents. Also not unusual, you know. But she had a pretty tough time coming up, and has obviously done really well. But the thing is that I think what's not really covered is the impact that modern society, modern day living has. Some say, well, you know, you're a little weak. There are people today, particularly younger people, who are bombarded in ways that I really can't imagine, because I don't really do social media. I don't understand most of it, to be honest with you, and I don't care. Well, that's just me. You know, we're quite a bit older now. But most modern athletes, they're on these things all the time. So they never get to shut things off. One thing, if you look at your dad, Muhammad Ali, yes, they were at the top of the world. They were world famous. They were world known. But the world could not get at them 24/7.
Right.
And they weren't bombarded 24/7. So when he talked to Howard Cosell on ABC Sports one Saturday out of, you know, 52 in the year, that was a big deal. That was a major deal. Now imagine doing that, you know, potentially, you know, 100,000 times a day. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's mad at you. And I think that pressure, that psychological pressure, is on all of them. Because I see a lot of players, even, you know, a lot of male players, seem like they're hurt all the time. They're very hurt and emotional, that's another discussion. But I think they're so browbeaten by all the attention, all of this, all the endorsements, all the things. Because even though you talked about Simone Biles, I saw last night, she was in like 2 different commercials and I forgot what they were for, but 2 or 3 different commercials just for a second. So these people, they're athletes, but they're also businesses. I'll use someone like Shaq or Tyson. They're a business. They're people that depend on them. They have organizations one way or the other. So as a young person, you're 24, you could be 54. You got all this on you all of a sudden with maybe not the best guidance or no guidance, and everyone's trying to take advantage of you. They're trying to get on you, and sometimes it's just too much. Then you have a personal life. You know, I don't know. I think she has a boyfriend that's in the NFL. You don't know what impact that has. Look at the maybe I'm going on a little bit long, but look at the impact that the bubble had on the NBA players last year. They were in Disney World, probably not the worst place to be, but a lot of them had a hard time with it. Now you've got that same thing. I think we talked about the last time they can go outside for like 15 minutes a day. It's like the prison exercise.
In Japan. In Japan now.
In Japan, yeah, in Japan, the Olympic Village. They get minimum timeout. So they're kind of on a Navy ship, you know. Well,
we'll talk about the Navy ships later.
Yeah,
but
that's a different
something that's real important, Paul, is that these kids also have grown up with one idea they think that makes them successful, and that's money. And some of them get so much money so quickly they realize money has nothing to do with anything but it does bring a lot of people around you, a lot of very wise and crafty people. Muhammad Ali never got ripped off by white people. He only got ripped off by black people. But it wasn't black people. They were crooks. You see, so being up there, you know what it is? I was very fortunate to grow up around the champ because I really knew him. And what people thought of him was not him. You don't know Simone Biles. You don't know Tiger Woods. You don't know these actors. You do not know them. You know what they show you. You know what people write about them. And so you become disappointed about Bill Cosby. Oh, wow. He was such a nice guy. You don't know these people. But the real thing I want to talk about is getting successful so quickly, so early in life. And that brings me to this. We all bust our ass to do well, Paul, and we all bust our ass to win. Winning is important, but we have taken winning to another level. I won't ever forget the Olympics where they said Nancy Kerrigan, remember the ice skater?
Yes.
She said the headline was Nancy Kerrigan lets America down. She came in second in the world in figure skating. How in the hell did she let anybody down? What about the person in the Olympics, the one who comes in last? Is he a loser? He's the fastest man in his country, no matter where it is. Is he a loser? We all need to know this. And I was taught this as a young man. I know you know this, but it's real important. To win, all you got to do is do the best you can. Because after the best you can, there's no more to do. And once you realize that you've trained enough, you've studied enough for a test, you've done all that you could, you have won. No matter what you compare yourself to others. And it's important that you know that. And that winning is not all important. Happiness is. Coming in second and third and fourth is okay. And you shouldn't get a trophy for just showing up. That's not how it works.
Right. If I can come in here, you mentioned Nancy Kerrigan, and what you didn't mention is, for those who don't know, which is probably the majority of people, she came in second place, but she came in second place after what? She came in second place after being attacked. Do you remember?
Yes.
And she was, her competitor was a woman named Tanya Harding. The boyfriend or ex-husband hired a hitman to attack her.
Amazing. And winning was,
and he did. The job was initially to break her leg. He thought that was too much. So he hit her with an expandable baton. Police have them. I got a couple too.
What are you doing with expandable batons?
In case I want to be a drum major. That's my story. I use a baton. Okay, right. That's my story.
Stick to it.
Judge Joe Brown. Anyway, he hit her with a baton to kind of like bust up her kneecap, which he did. And there's footage of her crying and doing that.
Yeah, I remember.
But she came back from that and took second place in the Winter Olympics.
Amazing.
So people say, you let them down. It's to paraphrase former president of the United States, some 400-pound guy sitting in his mother's basement, keyboard commando or whatever, a writer, knows everything, couldn't skate at all, can barely put one foot in front of the other. Never taken a rebound from Shaquille O'Neal or taken a punch from Mike Tyson or Mikey down the street, but they're experts at everything. Correct. Everybody's a keyboard warrior. They're real tough here, Yeah. But, if you've ever been hit really hard by somebody big, it hurts a lot.
Yes, it hurts. Mike Tyson said the best thing.
It hurts a lot.
Your plans all go to hell when you get punched in the mouth. While we're talking getting punched in the mouth and stories, Paul, once you lay on us one of our airline FedEx stories, I mean, we were both 777 pilots. And we flew all over the world with all kinds of people I flew for 33 years. I don't know how long you flew at FedEx, but I'm sure it was up there in the 30s. My point is, there are stories that are so amazing that I want us to start sharing with our listeners. And don't forget, listeners, www.wingmanshow.com. You go to the website, you can download the 11 Facts in Life. You can even get posters, and my book is on there, but that's not why I'm trying to get you to. most importantly, there are links there that you can get a high school education, you can attend college, you can get off drugs and alcohol, or actually there are links so you can get help to do that. And there's also links there for suicide. So go ahead, Paul. Tell us a FedEx story.
Well, it's a story. It has nothing to really do with the corporation, but I call this one situational awareness, and it has nothing to do with flying at all. It has to do with really protecting yourself. Now, earlier on, you were talking about, mental illness, mental health, and the violence that's going on now across the country, everywhere. It's important to have situational awareness. Pilots we really have that drummed into our head from the very beginning, no matter what kind of airplane, but know where you are, and know what's going on. Know both of those things.
Right.
Well, that also occurs, when you're not flying at all, when you're just getting out of your car, where you're going, you need to take care of yourself. So I'm thinking about basically self-protection and not being at the wrong place at the wrong time and getting hurt. I don't know anyone that's been killed, but I knew a number of guys who got beat up pretty bad.
What happened?
One guy got beat up on the subway in Paris, almost killed. He used to be a power lifter, not a small guy. But anybody can be overwhelmed.
Was alcohol involved?
I don't know. This is third hand. That's not second.
Come on, give me some details, Paul. Stop this. Stop being like give us some details on what really happened to this guy, because he got his ass kicked. Yeah, other things happened, Paul. Tell us. Don't hold back.
Don't hold back. All I know, I'm giving you that, it was in the subway and the metro in France. I had flown with him many, many decades before. He was a very, very nice person. Don't know what it was, but a group of people beat him with pipes, I understand, metal pipes. And he said he didn't know why.
The version of the story I heard in the same ready room, which is where all the pilots go every night when they fly, and all they do is talk. But I heard that alcohol was involved, and he started making fun of the French.
Oh, really?
And he started being a nasty, ugly American, whereas both of us being on Navy carriers going all over the world, we have seen a lot of ugly Americans come off that ship and not represent America in the greatest fashion. So that's what I heard.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's some of the stuff on the ship. It wouldn't be Top Gun. It'd be more like Bottom Gun, but we're not going to have any movies about that. Well, I had never heard that, but that could very well be. And I have seen cases, people I've worked with who were very, very nice. But if you throw some alcohol in there, it can turn into Frankensteins.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I've seen that. So I won't disagree with your assessment.
Good.
But other cases where alcohol was involved and folks were beaten up, and there's the things that they leave out. But, getting drunk and being in a foreign place and attacking somebody in a bar, like your Bruce Lee or Steven Seagal or whatever, the real life, it doesn't work out very well.
No, it doesn't. That's a good segue into this one. Parenting adult children. Because, it's kind of easy to clean diapers after you have 18, 19, 20, 30, 40-year-old, because the problems now differ. And you're still you will always see your children as young kids at that certain age, where actually after a while, you can just raise your voice and tell them what to do. And that's the end of the discussion. Mm-hmm. Well, there comes a point in their life that you might raise your voice and tell them what to do, but they're not doing it. And if you do it too much, they're not going to want to be around you or hear you do it. Mm-hmm. So in order to stay with your children, you have to kind of treat them as adults, which is not easy for loving parents, because I just don't see them as a surgeon and an attorney. I see them as little Taryn and little Drew. And it's a natural thing. I'm not by myself. Mm-hmm. So with parenting adult children, you have like marriage problems now. You have business problems, money problems. You have people who have ripped people off. I didn't use, this is funny, I didn't use eBay for about 5 years because Drew a long time had told me that he got ripped off by eBay on his first purchase. He didn't realize to tell me that it just happened once in a while, and it didn't ever happen again to him, but I didn't use it. Mm-hmm. So what I have done, to be honest with you, I heard this and I like it. Instead of pushing these kids, instead of telling them what to do, use a little psychology. First of all, nudging is the way to go. And explaining to them what you think is all you can do. You have one other thing you can do. You can pray. You can always pray, and that works. But when you talk to your children, you have to start remembering how you were at that age. And when I was out there trying to go make it, no, I wasn't hanging out with my parents. I wasn't really telling them everything I was doing. I was out there busting my butt trying to be something. So I have to put all that in perspective. Just know this. I have a very good friend, almost family, who has a child that just graduated college and going out on their own. It's not easy to let go.
Yeah, I find that, you see them as they're younger people. I don't see them as little kids. I can kind of visualize that point. But, everybody's getting older. And I think you have to live your own life. So I give advice that I think is right, but I try not to be too preachy about it. And sometimes the problems are things that, I'm not sure. You're living in a different time, in a different world. Mm-hmm. I can say, back in when I experienced that, no, I didn't experience it. I didn't experience it at all. I mean, you're kind of in outer space, in the outer regions, and let's talk about this together.
The information that's available to them is incredible. I don't know about you. My mother used to buy those encyclopedias, A through Z. Each one, yeah. I think X and Y had one. It was a little one. And every year you got a yearbook. That's where my information, it was exciting when they used to come to the projects, and once a year, I would add on to the yearbooks. Now, everything, up to making a nuclear weapon is in their hands. They're holding a machine that can basically give them good, bad, and really dangerous information. So it's a whole nother world. You know what I love is when parents now think, okay, that rap and that's beyond, that's just not good. What do you think our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents said about rock and roll? About James Brown saying, "I'm black and I'm proud." Jimi Hendrix playing off note. What are you kidding? There's no notes there. He's just making noise. That's ridiculous. That's not music.
Right. Every generation will have something. I'm sure there's folks that didn't like bebop or whatever in the 20s or the 30s.
That's true. But one thing that's important. I love my children to death, but I will always be their parent. And being their friend has to come second.
Right. You can get friends anywhere.
You can't get a daddy anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people never had a daddy.
That's right.
Well, I want to tell you a little story about their daddy in the United States Navy. How about this ship story? It was my very first workups. They were workups because what we do on a naval carrier, you go out for 2 or 3 weeks and you kind of just see how the ship's working. So we went down to the Caribbean. It was my very first one. So it was my very first port of call in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. I'm a freaking Navy jet pilot, white uniform. It is like a movie because I'm flying on and off the carrier all week long. I'm really enjoying this. I fail to realize I'll be spending 9 months on this ship, a couple of 3 times. But anyway, I'm really enjoying myself. And back then in the Navy, I'll be honest with you, partaking of alcohol was very accepted. And I did real good at that. So I just want to let you know that too. So anyway, there was on the big street. I lived in the Virgin Islands, so I remember this place very well. I actually moved back there. I loved it so much in that first port of call that I actually Katrina and I lived there for 10 years. So anyway, there's this place, a club called the Green Room. Okay. And that's where all the sailors went. Now, officers came always in their whites and girls were just loving this. They just alcohol, girls, partying, music. And all of a sudden, there's a group of Marines. And your friend Drew, for some reason, has a big mouth. And I don't know what
I can't believe that.
Yes.
Hint, hint.
And with the alcohol to add into the ignorance, I can't even imagine what I said. The end result is that we had a bar fight. Navy versus Marines. Okay? The real thing, just like in the movies, except when the fight started, my friend and I, they started fighting for real. I don't even think, I didn't throw a punch or get hit. We kind of weaseled our way out to get away from that craziness, went across the street, and here comes Shore Patrol. Here come the cops. Here comes everybody. You know, I loved it there so much on my first port of call. I had so much fun. It was like I was in a movie. I wish I could have remembered more. And since I've stopped drinking, now I can remember stuff. But I do remember how beautiful it was. It was paradise. The water was gorgeous. It was so pretty that I moved there and lived there. And paradise is paradise, but paradise ain't cheap. So that's one of my Navy stories. I started a fight in a bar with the Marines.
Well, I can kind of believe that, because I remember the first time I met you. You want a story? And you don't remember.
No.
You don't even remember.
Remember, I told you that drinking alcohol stuff, you kind of tend to forget a lot.
Yeah, well, I guess
for you.
I can tell the audience the first time I met Drew Brown, I was getting ready to leave the Navy. I was on my way out. I was a boat debt, qualified a bunch of people to land on aircraft carriers. I was an instructor. And I remember going to the bar with a friend.
Where were we?
It was in Key West. It was in Key West, Florida. That was the last boat that I did. Boat detachment. There's a detachment of people to go do that mission to train people on the ship. Anyway, but I'm going to leave the next day, go to the bar. There are a lot of people there. Everybody's in flight suits drinking. And I see this 6'5", black man up there talking. And he's got a cigar. The cigar is about as big as he is. And he's got his lapels turned up, and he's talking. And he's got like 5 guys around him, like little chicks. Like, tell me more. And he's just talking, and the cigar is waving, and I'm listening to what's coming out of his mouth. And I figure out he's a student, because he doesn't have any wings, because he's a student, and he's talking all this big stuff. And I hear a New York accent. And I think I said something, and you kind of said something to me. You didn't even know I was there. And you were just talking and this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, I said, boy, wait till this guy gets out there. He's going to find a different world. And then it's 84, 8 years later, and I meet you in the living room of a mutual friend in Memphis. Uh-huh. Same guy. You don't remember me. You still don't remember it now, but you were there, and you had a crowd around you then. You said something about Ali. I don't remember what it was. Something about it. So it kind of piqued my interest. And I just said, I don't know, a crazy guy from New York. But I've been spending all this time in Florida and Texas. And I ain't been around that many New Yorkers. A couple here and there, but not too many. It's more and more of the world. So that was my introduction to Drew Brown, Dark Gable, before he was the American Dream.
Well, I do remember this, Paul. So people need to know. As far as black Navy jet carrier pilots, there are almost zero. So I really looked up to you at that bar. I do remember seeing a black jet pilot, and I was like, God dang, I wonder if I could ever be that, to be honest with you. I might have talked a lot because I just wanted to be like you, Paul. Okay. And then when we became friends at FedEx and in Memphis, we said this earlier, you and I on the phone have been doing this show for a very long time.
That's true.
Very long time. You ready for the Wingmen show book club? The Dr. Paul Dark Gable book club. It was a book that we talked about a little while ago, and it's called The 4 Agreements. Another life changer. And it is so important. Just listen to these, because if you can follow these, it's almost another key to success, like the 11 facts in life. Agreement 1, be impeccable with your word. Do you understand? Impeccable. If you can't do it, don't talk about it. If you can't do something, don't talk about it. Be impeccable. When Dr. Paul Thompson tells me something, I know it's going to be done. Number 2, which is real hard for me, don't take anything personally.
Uh-huh.
You can learn to do that. Your life becomes better. Number 3, another hard one, but you learn this one. Stop making assumptions. Do not make assumptions. 99% of my assumptions are wrong. And number 4, and it was getting back to that coming in first, coming in second, always do your best. I remember somebody saying that every time you do something, make it like you would sign your name to whatever you did and say, Drew Brown did this. So those are the 4 agreements. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, always do your best. That's the one that sticks out to me. There's another saying that says, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough. But you basically have to try.
There you go.
Yeah, you just have to try.
When my gunny, you remember when the gunny sergeants would just beat you up and just tell you to do anything physical and just almost kill you? I won't ever forget this. My gunny said to somebody else, get down and give me 1,000 push-ups. And he was like, Gunny, I've only trained to 78 and I don't know. Shut up. And he looked at me and said, Brown, give me 1,000 push-ups. I said, yes, sir. He said, don't call me sir, I'm a working man. I got down on the ground and just started doing push-ups until I couldn't do any more push-ups. And that was that. But I didn't say I can't do it. I'm going to push up until my arms stop.
Right.
And that was the difference.
That was the purpose of the exercise. Yes.
That is 100% correct. Do you have a good wingman for me, Paul?
Yeah, it's a good wingman. It's a wingman. It's really an organization. The Luke Weathers Flight Academy. The Luke Weathers Flight Academy is in Olive Branch, Mississippi, just outside of Memphis. It's a flight school. It's named after Tuskegee Airman, Lieutenant Colonel Luke Weathers, who is from the Memphis area. It's been in operation for about 3 years now. It's part of the OBAP, Organization of Black Aviation Professionals. They give flight instruction. They give training. They just finished their Solo Flight Academy. It's a 2-week program that takes teenagers, typically age 16 to 19, and gives them a good introduction in aviation. And it includes flight instruction. I think they can get up to 10 hours. And if they can actually solo an airplane if they perform well enough. It's a very good thing. They're part of the of OBAP. OBAP has, I think that's the only flight academy.
What is OBAP? What's OBAP? Like I said,
it's the Organization of Black Aviation Professionals. And their goal is to really introduce aviation to young people. They're in schools. There's pilots in schools. They have regional programs. There's a thing called the ACE Camp, ACE, and that stands for Aviation Career Education. In fact, many years ago, I was running one of them, and Drew Brown was the featured speaker, I remember, in a blue flight suit.
That's when one of my good fellow pilots, he was there too, wasn't he, watching me speak, wasn't he? I'm not going to even say his name.
Yes. One of your biggest fans.
Yes. You know what? You got to be careful of haters. You know that?
That's true.
And it doesn't matter what kind of melanin they have, what color they are. There are some people who will try to stop you. But I always heard anybody who's hating on you, that means you're doing something.
Yeah, it's like, you're playing a sport. There's offense and defense. Okay, the defense is there. You try to get around them. You're not there to like you. You're trying to score.
Right. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. Tell us about that ACE camp in my
the ACE camp. Yeah, aviation career. Now that's something that that the OBAP group does around the country. ACE camps are all over the place, and that's typically a 1-week program that introduces maybe younger children, under 16. Teenagers. I say 12 to 18, about just aviation in general. Not just flying, but flying, maintenance, dispatch, aeronautics, engineering, just different careers. And it's a very good program. Look around if you're in a major city, even a small city, look for OBAP. There are programs for summer people, and every summer sometime in June or July, there'll be a program. Sometimes some cities have more than one. They may have two, which is very good. But the Luke Weathers Flight Academy is run by former Captain Albert Glenn, and it's occasionally his son, Captain Anthony Glenn.
Amazing.
All in the family. Yeah.
Remember when Anthony was a little boy?
I remember when Captain Anthony Glenn, I think he runs the flight operation in Memphis now. I remember when he was 5 years old in the back seat bothering me as a little kid. You see, he was 5 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So people can grow up and do very great things. But that flight academy is excellent. So remember, it's the Luke Weathers Flight Academy, Olive Branch, Mississippi.
That's very good. And they're great people. And, Paul, that brought up a great point. Albert Glenn is his dad. And so being an airline pilot is not a big deal to him because he knows his dad makes mistakes. That's why a lot of doctors' sons become doctors, because it's not scary to them, because they're like, if my father could do it, I can do it. Mm-hmm. It's only scary to people who have no idea what they can do. But if you ever find your purpose in life, man, you'll do anything to achieve that purpose. And I do want to talk to the subscribers one more time about the update on my daddy's documentary, Bundini.
Yes.
We're going to have a Zoom call this week, and I'll give you the update on that. That's all I have on that. Okay. And my basketball court, my Versa court, it's going to be made. It's sitting in the rain right now, the 2 boxes, because I'm going to need about 4 or 5 young people to help me put it together. But I will keep you updated on all of it.
Okay. Well, it's good. I look forward to that.
I love you, Paul. Thanks for doing the show.
Thanks for having me on. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. We'd appreciate it.
100%. We hope you enjoyed our show. We truly thank you for your time. It's our most valuable commodity. So we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Dr. Paul Thompson, Drew Brown, we both say goodbye. See you guys later.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.